My husband looked heartbroken. For 3 days straight, every night, he'd been clutching his phone, staring at the chat history with his girlfriend, quietly crying. I had just gotten back from a date with my own younger boyfriend. Seeing him like that, I felt a smug satisfaction and leaned close to whisper in his ear, "Dumped, huh? Haha, mine hasn't dumped me yet." The next second, I got a breakup text from my boyfriend. After seeing the message from my younger boyfriend, I collapsed onto the sofa, crying my eyes out. My gorgeous, 6 feet 3 inches, abs of steel college guy, with that quarter British heritage. The thought of never kissing that accent again made me sob even louder. Ethan, sitting across from me on the other sofa, watched me for a long time, his brow furrowed slightly. "What did you just whisper in my ear?" I stopped crying instantly. My boyfriend was gone. I couldn't afford to lose my husband who made millions a year too. So I just shook my head silently. I didn't say anything. Ethan looked at my back, slumped on the sofa, and didn't pursue it. The moment I heard his slippers heading upstairs, I dared to start crying again. Back then, I didn't dare tell my parents about dating. Now, I didn't dare tell my husband. Ah, women, a lifetime of regrets. Ethan and I had known each other for 7 years, from high school through college graduation. We got married right after graduating. All our classmates said we were the perfect example of a campus romance reaching its happy ending. But nobody knew that in our 3 years of marriage, Ethan had been cheating for 2.5. The other woman was a new intern at his company. It all clicked when I stumbled upon her social media account showing Ethan watching fireworks with her in New York. A passionate kiss, captioned, "Can't stand by your side openly, but I can occupy your heart completely." That's when I knew I was being cheated on. These mistresses really have their lines down these days. That day, pathetically, I cried for a long time. Then I chose to like and follow her account. Later, when Ethan went to shower and forgot to lock his phone, I found out her name was Jessica, fresh out of college. That night, I scrolled through Jessica's feed over 3,000 times. After getting together with Ethan, Jessica started posting much more frequently. Almost every day. Either skiing with Ethan, checking into fancy restaurants, or showing off jewelry Ethan bought her. During those exact days, Ethan told me he was on a business trip in Chicago. When he came back, he even brought me a gift, a gemstone hair clip, the kind they give away free with luxury purchases. Watching Ethan head into the bathroom to shower, I cried and blurted out that I wanted to be a mistress too. Ethan just stared at me coldly, then after a long pause, scoffed, "Sarah, what kind of tantrum are you throwing now?" The words were on the tip of my tongue, but thinking about the allowance he gave me each month, I swallowed them back down. I just slunk back to my own room. Later, when my best friend Beth, who's a lawyer, found out, she told me that everything Ethan bought for Jessica was purchased with marital assets. I felt ripped off. So, I turned around and found myself a younger boyfriend online. My new boyfriend was cute and strong. The first time I brought him from Harvard to a hotel, he knew exactly what to do and had plenty of stamina. Once I got a taste, I was hooked. After all, ever since Ethan started cheating, he'd insisted on sleeping in separate rooms. A 26-year-old woman has needs, you know? To reward my younger boyfriend, I followed Ethan's example. I bought an apartment to keep my little treasure hidden away. The moment Ethan left the house, I'd drive over to the apartment to see my boy toy. My boy toy was perfect in every way. Except maybe too capable. We went through 2 beds already. The furniture store owner even recognized me, always giving me this envious look. He cooked too. Every time I walked in, I'd find him in the kitchen wearing nothing but an apron, busy cooking. A sexy sheen of sweat covered his defined back muscles. He just radiated that hot, domesticated vibe. Everything was fine. Ethan and I each had our own happiness. When Beth found out, she just sighed, "Well, as long as the 4 of you can make it work, that's what matters." Until 3 days ago. Ethan started coming home more often. He'd just sit on the sofa, phone in hand, frowning deeply. I even saw the glimmer of tears in his eyes. Combined with Jessica's latest social media post, I knew he'd been dumped. But I didn't care. Every day, I'd dress up looking all sweet and innocent and head out for dates with my boyfriend. I'd come back with my lipstick smudged, my dress rumpled. Ethan never even looked at me. To me, it seemed like he was utterly devastated. I didn't try to comfort him. I was worried he might fall back in love with me, which would be inconvenient. After all, my heart only had room for my younger boyfriend now. So today, when I got back and saw him looking like that, I thoughtfully put on "After I'm Gone" for him. Then I went to the bathroom to chat with my boyfriend and put on an expensive face mask. When I came out, Ethan was still in the same miserable state. My big mouth got the better of me. I leaned close to his ear and whispered, "She doesn't want you anymore." While crying my heart out, I texted Beth, "He wants to break up, I'm so sad." I heard eating yogurt and fried chicken together can be poisonous. I have the yogurt, just need the fried chicken. Beth replied, LOL. I don't even want to call you out. Are you really heartbroken? I sent her a screenshot of the breakup text my boyfriend had just sent. Seriously broke up? Fine, just find another one later. Okay, I'll order the fried chicken for you. After tearfully finishing the fried chicken, I went upstairs to the bathroom, turned on the Harman Kardon speaker, and put on some music. While showering, I felt more devoted than a loyal dog, and started crying again. As soon as I opened the bathroom door, I saw Ethan sitting on the armchair, holding a paper document. His eyes landed on my slightly red-rimmed eyes and paused. You cried? Why? I sighed heavily. Missed my grandma. Damn it. Him. Seeing me looking so pitiful, a trace of softness appeared in Ethan's eyes. I'll take you back to see her in a few days. Don't cry. I nodded. Ethan seemed to have something he wanted to say, but seeing my state, he just frowned and left. I breathed a sigh of relief and called my boyfriend. Can we not break up? The voice on the other end was magnetic but tinged with anger. Not break up? So your husband can support me? I thought about it briefly. He's already supporting one mistress, supporting two, or even three. It wasn't impossible. Seemingly reading my mind, Ryan laughed, exasperated. In your dreams. I don't do the other man thing. My eyes reddened. Men are so fickle. Just 3 hours ago, he was calling me baby and sweetheart. Now he's calling himself I. The next morning, I opened my phone. Ryan had sent me a video. Shirtless in the sunlight, doing crunches on some workout equipment. I didn't know what he meant. I just sent a question mark. He didn't reply. A wave of disappointment washed over me. I lost interest in picking out clothes. I randomly threw on a loose-knit cardigan set with a white tank top underneath. When I went downstairs, Ethan, breaking routine, hadn't left for work yet. I glanced at the time, it was already 10 a.m. Seeing me come down like this, Ethan raised an eyebrow. I wasn't in the mood to deal with him, my mind filled with images of my boyfriend's abs workout. I listlessly poked the black truffle fried rice in my bowl into mush with my chopsticks. Ethan finally noticed something was wrong. What's wrong with you? My voice was flat, almost tearful. Nothing. Perhaps sensing my low mood, or maybe finally remembering that our wedding anniversary was a few days ago, the day he spent at a hot spring resort with Jessica and didn't come home, he showed a flicker of guilt. I only vaguely remembered because I saw the calendar. But none of that mattered anymore. Work is slow today, Ethan said, a hint of guilt in his eyes. How about I take you to an auction this afternoon? I sighed. Might as well spend his money. Love was gone. Couldn't lose the money too, right? On the way to the auction, Ethan drove. I didn't look at him, just stared blankly out the window, thinking about all the little moments with Ryan. Tears started rolling down my face again. He was so good, how could I let him go? I finally understood what heartbreak felt like. And worse, my husband was right next to me, so I couldn't even cry out loud. There was no music playing in the car. I wiped away a tear, worried I wouldn't be able to hold it in and Ethan would notice. So I grabbed my phone, connected it to Bluetooth, and played Happy Breakup. Ethan, what is wrong with you? I really forgot it was our anniversary that day. I sighed again. Nothing, just been missing my grandma lately. Damn it. Ethan looked confused. You miss your grandma, so why are you listening to this song? I didn't explain. Ethan didn't press further. Once we got to the auction, I went on a bidding frenzy, buying quite a few things. When we got home, I just collapsed into bed and slept. In the middle of the night, Ryan sent me a message. Baby, I miss you. I rubbed my eyes, changed clothes and went straight to the apartment. When I got there, Ryan looked at me, his eyes full of concern. He looked like he'd lost some weight too, his jawline even sharper. His eyes were red, looking incredibly wronged. He didn't say anything, just held me tight. I was wrong. I shook my head. Looking at his handsome face so close, my fingers slid up under the hem of his shirt. He took a deep breath, sounding somewhat resigned, his beautiful lips parted. Do you actually like me, or just my body? I wasn't really listening to what he was saying. I stood on my toes and kissed him. I was heartbroken. And now we were back together. So a few days later, I was feeling pretty pleased with myself. But then I saw Ethan sitting on the sofa, frowning deeply, his face grim. My heart filled with pity for him. My husband was heartbroken. While I was in the honeymoon phase. Seeing him like that, and thinking about the generous allowance he gave me each year, I sighed, walked over, and patted his shoulder. I was about to offer some comfort, but then I saw he was holding my phone. On the screen was the video Ryan had sent me of himself doing crunches, shirtless. The air suddenly went still. Ethan's face was terribly dark as he looked up at me coldly. My head was spinning. You know what they say, the key to a good marriage is not looking at each other's phones. My only relief now was that he hopefully hadn't seen my chats with Beth, otherwise, his face would probably look even worse. The reason I'd never looked at Ethan's phone all these years was precisely because I worried he'd look at mine. Just then, my phone chimed with a notification. A new message from Ryan. A picture of him wearing a black leather Joker collar. Seeing Ethan about to speak, I quickly snatched the phone back and sent Ryan a voice message. Stop sending me messages, I don't hire male models. Ethan looked at my flushed face and frowned slightly. A male model? I nodded quickly. Beth's new bar opened, I went to support her, accidentally spilled something on his clothes, so I added him on WeChat to pay him back. I had only left my phone for a minute, I was betting he hadn't scrolled up. Ethan didn't say anything, just looked at me for a long time. His gaze drifted to the photo of us on the cabinet behind me, seemingly remembering something. Don't just add random people anymore. I nodded perfunctorily, watching him grab his coat and leave. The moment his car pulled away, I immediately called Ryan. He answered quickly, but his magnetic voice had a distinct edge of gritted teeth. Sarah, who the hell are you calling a male model? I had to soothe him with a stream of baby. After a while, I finally managed to calm him down. Baby, I want to see you now. Ugh, men. Just moments ago he was calling me Sarah. I looked down and saw Jessica's new social media post. The photo featured Ryan's car. Ethan probably wouldn't be home tonight. I nodded. Okay, let's go to the apartment then. He seemed to get angry again. Is the apartment the only place I'm good enough for? In the end, Ryan and I went to a 5-star hotel. Afterward, we went for dinner at a fancy downtown restaurant. Our booth was sectioned off by screens. Just after I finished ordering, I heard Ethan's voice behind me, talking to his friend. Beth went to the bar again, you have no idea, that place is full of male models. Heard Sarah went too during the opening. Ethan nodded. She even added one on WeChat. Mike exclaimed, what? And you can stand that? Ethan's voice was casual. She wouldn't. Mike sighed. True, you guys have been together 7 years. Sarah loves you to death, she'd never be like you. Realizing he'd misspoken, he quickly added, but what if Sarah finds out about you and Jessica? I heard the clink of Ethan raising his glass. It's fine. Both her parents are gone. If she left me, she'd have nowhere else to go. It sounded like they had started eating over there. I lowered my head. Vaguely, I remembered the year I took my college entrance exams, my parents passed away. Ethan, worried I'd do something drastic, followed me everywhere. Later, when I decided to move into the dorms, Ethan carried my suitcase and wash basin, walking me all the way to the dorm entrance. It rained that day, his pant legs were soaked. He said, Sarah, I'll be good to you forever. Later, 2 guys in my class laughed and asked me, hey, Sarah, what's it like having dead parents? My mom says maybe you cursed them. My relative's passing had already cast a long shadow over my heart. But their words pierced right through me. Somehow, Ethan found out what happened that day. He found those 2 guys and got into a brutal fight. You dare mention her parents again? The boy back then knew how much pain I was in. But now, he was the one stabbing me with the knife. Ryan immediately stood up. I quickly grabbed his hand. His eyes were red with anger, his handsome face full of hurt. Baby, you're still protecting him? What's so good about him? Is he better looking than me? Is he hotter? I clamped my hand over his mouth. He instinctively nibbled my fingertip. I gasped, quickly shut my mouth, and glanced nervously towards the screen. Behind the screen came Ethan's dismissive chuckle. Wow, this place really lets anyone in these days. Then he and Mike got up and left. Clearly, he hadn't recognized my voice. Though he hesitated for a second outside the curtain before leaving. I let out a sigh of relief, but Ryan looked miserable. Am I that embarrassing? I gave him a look. What do you think? He cleared his throat twice, lifting his chin slightly. The one who isn't loved is the third wheel. The waitress who had just pulled back the curtain to bring our food heard him, her eyes wide. She served the dishes incredibly slowly. Only when she saw neither Ryan nor I spoke did she leave, looking regretful. I pinched Ryan's hand. Keep it down, is this something to be proud of? Ryan blushed slightly, seemingly realizing something. He lowered his head slightly. It's my own fault for stooping so low. That evening, Ethan called me. After confirming I was home, he hung up abruptly. Out of the blue, he transferred a large sum of money to me. I accepted it without any guilt. On social media, Jessica posted an update: "From now on, a family of 3. I opened the picture. It was Ethan accompanying her to a late-night prenatal checkup at the hospital. Just as I was about to exit, Jessica sent me a private message. "I know you saw it. These posts are only visible to you. It's strange, though, seeing all this for years, you never pushed Ethan for a divorce. Too bad, he's already agreed to divorce you." I scoffed, screenshotted everything, and sent it all to Ethan. Might as well strike first. Besides, I was already planning to ask for a divorce soon. Beth had helped me draft an agreement that was naturally more favorable to me. Let's get a divorce. I've already prepared the papers, I'll have someone send them over later. Let's split the assets 50-50. Ethan just said one thing: "Okay." It was at this moment that Ryan messaged me. A picture of him by a pool, wearing swim trunks. Water droplets trickled from his hair down his chest and lower. I was about to reply when he immediately retracted it. "Sorry, sent to the wrong person. Wrong person? Who was he originally sending it to? Miss you, baby. I decided to just send him my address. Then come over. He replied, "Come into the main house? Wouldn't that be inappropriate?" I was busy getting ready for a shower. I urged him, "Whatever, suit yourself." By the time I got out of the shower, the doorbell outside was ringing intermittently. I went downstairs and opened the door. Ryan stood there in a black hoodie. The neighbor across the street opened their gate. He quickly slipped inside and locked the main gate behind him. Me. The moment he was inside, he impatiently captured my lips. I was breathless from his entanglement, gasping out, "Go, to the room." By the time he pulled down the strap of my nightgown, footsteps suddenly sounded outside the door. I sat up, throwing on a knit shawl, and saw Ethan's car parked downstairs. Ryan seemed to realize who it was too and started heading towards the balcony. I quickly pulled him back. What would the neighbors think if they saw that? His shirt was currently disheveled, anyone could tell what had just happened. If it ended up online, we'd be infamous. He thought about it, turned, and quickly hid in the closet. He moved so fast I didn't even have time to stop him before the closet door shut. He even managed a considerate whisper, "Baby, I won't make things difficult for you." Me. What was with that round look in his eyes? When Ethan walked in, he saw me like this and frowned slightly. "What happened to your neck?" I mumbled vaguely. "Mosquito bite." Ethan didn't say anything. Suddenly, there was a loud bang from inside the closet. Ethan looked suspicious. "Is someone in there?" If Ryan had just sat there brazenly, I wouldn't have panicked. But because he dived into the closet so quickly, getting caught now would be incredibly awkward. Besides, who knew if Ethan had signed the divorce papers yet? I mumbled incoherently, "No one, who would be in there?" Ethan didn't believe me and strode over to yank open the closet door. Inside, Ryan stood wearing a slightly sheer white shirt, a thin layer of sweat on his forehead. One look was enough to tell something improper had happened. I slapped my forehead. Stumbling over my words, I explained, "He's here to fix the pipes." Ethan clearly wasn't buying it. Why would a plumber hide in the closet? I glanced towards the top of his head. After fixing the pipes, he can also fix safes. There was a small safe inside the closet. Ethan knew about it. He didn't say anything more then, but his eyes lingered on the damp hem of Ryan's shirt. Ryan stepped out of the closet. He was already tall. When Ethan first came in, Ryan had seemed cautious, but now that he was caught, he stood before Ethan with an air of noble composure. "Yeah, old man, I'm here to fix the pipes. See, too much water, got my clothes wet." When he smiled, it was somehow incredibly punchable. For a moment, I didn't know if the kid was doing it on purpose. Flushed, I pulled Ethan out of the room. Ethan advised me to get the guy out soon. Then he handed me the divorce agreement. He had already signed it. Well, she was pregnant, wasn't she? Even if he didn't want to, Jessica wouldn't let this chance slip. "Sarah, I wronged you. She's pregnant, I can't let the child grow up without a father like I did." How noble. I almost wanted to applaud him. Such a responsible man. "Fine. You can go now." He froze, seemingly surprised by my calmness. Seeing I wasn't planning to talk further, he hesitated, looking like he wanted to explain something else. But his phone rang, and he had to leave. I huffily pushed the door open. I saw Ryan had taken off his shirt, standing soaking wet by the bathroom door. Only then did I remember the bathroom pipes actually did have a problem. This kid was really something. Ryan scooped me up and carried me into the bathroom. A smile played on his lips. "There's nothing of his in baby's room." I saw right through his little game. I nodded cooperatively. By the time this house was renovated, he was already cheating. "So this room has always been just mine." We had already been living separately then. The young wolf's eyes lit up. He turned on the shower, his gaze deepening as he looked at me, overjoyed. So baby has always been mine alone. Ethan contacted me again 3 days later. Is tomorrow afternoon convenient? Let's go to the courthouse and finalize the papers. I was chatting with Ryan and immediately agreed. Sure. Coming out of the courthouse, he was on the phone with Jessica. I vaguely heard Jessica asking about the asset division. When she found out it was split 50-50, Jessica's voice immediately shot up several octaves. I chuckled dismissively, uninterested in hearing more. As I pulled open my car door to leave, Ethan, pale-faced, grabbed my hand. He squeezed out the words, "Sarah, did you also?" I saw his phone screen showed a picture Jessica had sent him. A photo of me and Ryan together. I nodded. Yes, learned from the best. Ethan stumbled back a couple of steps, his face aghast, speechless for a long moment. It wasn't until I impatiently pulled my hand away that his eyes reddened slightly. So, you got together with him to get revenge on me? I thought about it carefully, then shook my head. It was because I liked him. Although that thought had indeed crossed my mind initially, it vanished quickly. Ethan seemed unable to accept my answer, the last glimmer of hope in his eyes disappearing. Sarah, you're ruthless. Then he added, don't you regret this? I pulled the car door open. Absolutely no regrets. A few days later, my college and high school friends all started sending me pictures of an invitation. It announced Ethan and Jessica's wedding. You guys divorced? Sarah, no way. Ethan's marrying someone else? I turned off my phone, not replying individually. I packed my things and went on a trip to the UK with Ryan. Ryan was ecstatic. The moment we got to the hotel, he pushed me onto the bed for a passionate makeout session. He buried his head in my neck, but then suddenly stopped. He looked up at me pitifully. Baby, can I leave Mark's? I had originally planned to tell him about the divorce. But seeing him acting like such a little green tea bitch right now, I kept my mouth shut and just nodded. Getting my permission seemed to make him even happier. He moved forcefully, crashing into me. Tears streamed down my face. I wanted to kick him off, but I had absolutely no strength left. A guy in his early 20s really has boundless energy. He lowered his head, nibbling my earlobe while thrusting harder. Baby, am I good? Looking into his bright, energetic eyes, I stubbornly replied, is that all you got? His face turned incredibly dark. He ended up going at it until dawn finally broke. My lips were numb from kissing. I wanted to cry but had no tears left. Ryan's eyes were full of satisfaction. Baby, young is better, right? That old man could never satisfy you. Old man, Ethan? He's only 27, I think. Never mind. I didn't dare talk back anymore. Just let him carry me to the bathroom to clean up. We spent a week traveling around the UK. Ryan took lots of pictures of me. And pictures of us together. I was scrolling through Beth's latest feed post, a photo announcing her relationship with her boyfriend. Ryan sighed beside me, muttering to himself, so I'm the one who isn't worthy. Me. After the plane landed, Ryan was clingy, not wanting to leave me. I rolled my eyes and ended up letting him drive me home. These past few days, it felt like Ryan was on something. My legs were still a bit weak. Ryan hesitated. Will that be okay? I looked at his devastatingly handsome face and rolled my eyes again. What's not okay about it? Ryan had no choice but to get in the car. I was exhausted and closed my eyes as soon as I got in. Just before falling asleep, though, I saw Ryan driving, his expression shifting rapidly, worried one moment, determined the next, then a smug smile playing on his lips. When we arrived at the villa, I groggily got out of the car, grabbed my luggage, and went inside. Ryan looked left and right, made sure no one was around, then rolled down the window. Baby, you haven't said you love me yet. Such a romantic. I said perfunctorily, love you, now go. Hearing my dismissive tone, a shadow crossed his eyes. He nodded, waited until I closed the door, then drove away. I rested at the villa for a few days. Beth sent me a video. In it, Ryan, stone-faced, was racing a gray McLaren on a winding mountain road. Your boy toy turns out to be quite the wolf. Sarah, I just asked the club owner. He's the only son of the Cheen family. He saw me. I lowered my eyes. Few people in Philadelphia didn't know the Cheen family. I thought about how he'd worn faded sneakers around me these past few years. I looked at the latest message Ryan had just sent me and didn't reply. Ryan called me several times, but I didn't answer. It wasn't until I came down with a fever at home and texted Beth that someone unexpected showed up. Ryan. He was completely soaked. He held a small plastic bag in his arms. He gave me medicine and made porridge. He only left after I drifted off to sleep. The next day, I saw over a dozen long messages, essentially apologizing for hiding his identity. I thought about it. I hadn't told him about Ethan and me at the beginning either. After all, initially, I just saw him as a boy toy. But now, given his background, we weren't really suitable. While I was hesitating, Ethan called me. Baby, don't leave me. I can be the other man, it's okay, as long as I have a place in your heart. My voice was hoarse, I didn't know how to reply. That day, he posted on his feed, "It's hard when you're not by my side." The picture was of him lying on black sheets, the corners of his eyes slightly red. My heart suddenly softened. I drove to the apartment. Opening the door quietly, I went into the bedroom. Ryan was already asleep, hugging the pillow I usually loved. I leaned down, placed a kiss on his lips, and lay down beside him. As if sensing my scent, he let go of the pillow and wrapped his arm around my waist. When I woke up the next morning, Ryan was still asleep. I picked up my phone and sent him a picture of the divorce certificate. Just as I put the phone down, I saw he was awake. His eyes lit up with surprise when he saw me. "Sarah." He seemed exceptionally happy. He carried me to the sink to wash up, then went to the kitchen to make breakfast. Only after we finished eating did he casually pick up his phone. His smile stretched nearly ear to ear. He picked me up, spun me around several times, and gave me a long, fierce kiss before finally stopping. I sat on the sofa watching TV, overhearing Ryan on the phone with one of his buddies. "I can barely breathe right now. Ryan, man, don't scare me. I'll come get you right away, tell me the address." Ryan's voice was smug. "No, it's my girlfriend, she divorced her husband. I can finally come out of the shadows." There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. "Bro, you were the other man?" Ryan grinned. "Don't make it sound so bad. I was the other man for love." I rolled my eyes at his smug tone. The person on the phone was clearly speechless too. "Is there a difference?" Ryan scoffed. "Of course. Ryan, she really divorced him for you? Bro, don't you feel like this is kinda messed up?" Before he could finish, Ryan hung up. A few days later, a woman claiming to be Ryan's mother called me, asking to meet at a coffee shop. I frowned. My mind immediately conjured images of being handed a check for $5 million to leave Ryan. So I cautiously arrived at the agreed-upon coffee shop and sat down. Soon, a woman dressed expensively sat down across from me. She pulled out a check. The refusal was already on my lips. "Ma'am, Ryan and I are truly in love." Just then, she spoke. "Take this 50 million. I paused. "Actually, ma'am, we're not that in love. I'll make things clear with Ryan." I had anticipated this outcome for a family like the Cheens ever since I found out Ryan's identity. The wealthy woman. "Make what clear?" "This is compensation for your trouble. I'm truly sorry, it's my fault for not raising him right, leading him to stray onto the wrong path, seducing you. Don't worry, if you have any demands in the future, just let us know. Our family owes you this." "Me?" I quickly tried to explain. "Ma'am, no, it was my fault." She cut me off. "Don't blame yourself. Honestly, for years ago, his father accidentally found his notebook and realized he was planning to become the other man for love. He'd even taken notes. His dad beat him up for it. We thought he'd given up the idea. We never expected him to actually succeed. What a disgrace to the family." I was stunned, still processing what she said. "For years ago, Ryan and I didn't even know each other, did we?" Before I could fully digest it, Ryan arrived, dressed in a black suit, having rushed straight from the office. Dark strands of hair clung damply to his forehead. Seeing the check on the table, the panic in his eyes vanished. He rushed forward and stuffed the check into my bag. "Mom, I'm telling you, I will never break up with Sarah." The wealthy woman looked utterly exasperated. Before she could say anything, Ryan grabbed my hand and pulled me away. He practically shoved me into the car. He took me to his company. As employees around us whispered, Ryan held my hand and announced, "My girlfriend." Officially. The HR manager walking by looked completely baffled. Turned to the people behind him. "Did I say something just now?" They all shook their heads. Ryan took me to his office. Just as I hesitated, wanting to ask about what his mother had said, he impatiently locked the door and pinned me against it for a passionate kiss. After a long while, he gently wiped the moisture from my lips. He turned and went into the back resting lounge. When he came out again, he was dangling a brand new uniform set from his fingertips. White blouse, pencil skirt, black stockings. My eyes widened. He leaned in close, whispering in my ear, "Baby, put it on, please?" Seriously, I didn't realize he was into this kind of stuff. Under his intense gaze, the smooth skin of his throat bobbing slightly as he swallowed, I had no choice but to take the clothes into the lounge. When I came out, I felt incredibly awkward. Ryan sat with his long legs crossed, leaning back lazily in the black leather office chair. Seeing me, his eyes darkened. He stood up, walked over, tossed me onto the bed in the lounge, and loosened his tie. Then he just went for it. Baby, I've wanted this for so long. I remembered all the Wolfere sets, black chains I had bought for him before. He had blushed furiously back then. I thought it was shyness, which made me tease him even more boldly. Looking back now, the kid was clearly turned on by it, right? He was so good at pretending. I eventually returned the check to Ryan, telling him to give it back to his mother. By the time we got home, it was already dark. When Ryan and I got out of the car, there were still stimulating red marks on my neck. His back was probably scratched up too. Youth really means stamina. Just as I was about to go upstairs, an unexpected figure appeared in front of me. It was Ethan. Seeing me, his face darkened. Compared to his previous confident air, he now exuded an aura of defeat. I had been there when he founded Pay Corporation. After it got established, I had to quit my position to rest at home due to health issues for a while. I didn't expect that just a few months later, Ethan would start cheating. After the divorce, I took half his assets. They were rightfully mine anyway. On his wedding day, I had someone play the photos and conversations Jessica had privately sent me over the years at their ceremony. Many of Ethan's clients and important social contacts, including classmates Jessica had invited out of vanity, saw everything. Knowingly being the other woman, how could she expect a smooth transition? Even though I no longer cared about Ethan, it didn't mean I was a saint. After divorcing Ethan, I started a new company. Although still in its early stages, thanks to my previous business skills and industry knowledge, it was already on the right track. Being in the same field and both based in Philadelphia, I naturally heard a lot about Ethan. After the wedding, Jessica used her pregnancy as an excuse to move her parents into the villa. I heard that recently, Jessica's father even took Ethan's treasured watch collection and gave them away to relatives. Ethan argued with Jessica about it. But Jessica blamed him for giving half his fortune to me, so what was wrong with her dad taking a few watches? They had a huge fight. There were probably many other things I didn't know. When Beth mentioned it, I didn't say much. After all, it had nothing to do with me anymore. Sarah. His voice was hoarse. I regret it. Jessica's baby isn't mine. She deliberately got pregnant by someone else to force me to marry her. I've already divorced her. I don't mind your past with Ryan. Can we start over? Let's build a life together again. Lately, all I can think about is our past. Do you remember? You loved the wontons from that place near campus. Can we go back and see? I almost laughed out loud in anger. What makes you think I'd go back to you? Ethan, when you were cheating, did you ever think about those 7 years? He fell silent, but his eyes reddened. I was just looking for some excitement for a moment. I've always loved you. I looked at him with disgust. Forget it. Ryan, beside me, wrapped his arm around my waist. Sorry, man, she's with me now. Ethan's face flushed, glaring fiercely at Ryan. You're shameless. Ryan shrugged. Well, you gave me the opportunity, didn't you? Ethan's lips turned pale. Sarah, I know I messed up, I wronged you first. But can't we really start over? I've looked into his background. Do you think a family like the Cheens would really let you marry in? I cut him off. None of this concerns you anymore. Ethan, no matter what, my future will not include you. With that, I took Ryan's hand and walked inside. After Ethan and Jessica divorced, she often brought her family over to cause trouble. To avoid her, Ethan had to go work at the overseas branch for half a year. Everyone said Ethan had terrible judgment, cheating on me for a woman like that. Some gossips even asked me, Ms. Lynn, you're so beautiful, Mr. Pay must have been blind to divorce you. I didn't respond. By then, my company was well established, rivaling Pay Corp in its prime. When I got home, I unexpectedly found a diamond ring in the pocket of Ryan's coat. The velvet box looked like it had been handled often, its surface worn smooth in places. I chuckled softly. I wasn't about to let past issues stop me now. That night, in the heat of passion, Ryan saw the diamond ring on my finger. A flicker of surprise crossed his eyes, which suddenly grew moist. Wifey, wifey, baby, baby. Accompanied by a torrent of kisses. When his family and friends found out, they didn't say anything. After all, Ryan's lovesick behavior had become infamous lately. He was jokingly nicknamed the latecomer who surpasses because he fought tooth and nail for me. On my wedding day with Ryan, I received an anonymous gift. It was a jar of realistic electronic fireflies and a portfolio of asset transfer documents. Labeled dowry. The boy who watched fireflies with me during that summer when I was 17 was long dead. The person who delivered the items was a mutual classmate of Ethan's and mine. He hesitated, then said, "He's overseas, drinking himself sick every day, clutching your photo. When he heard you were getting married, he almost got into a car accident. I told him to return everything. It was best if we had no further connection in this life." Beside me, Ryan looked jealous. "Baby, I have things for you too, more than him." With that, his lawyer handed me a stack of transfer deeds and asset certificates. Everything under his name, including 30% of Chin Corp shares. He guided my hand to sign them all. After the wedding ceremony ended, I went back to our room in the Chin family's main house. As I was about to put something away in the nightstand, I opened the drawer and saw a notebook. The cover read, "Ryan's Guide to Winning Her Over." After reading the contents, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Ryan came out of the bathroom, the tips of his ears beat red. "No wonder you got beaten up." I chuckled. He came over and pulled me onto his lap. I naturally wrapped my arms around his neck. "Ryan, when did you actually start liking me?" He looked down, gazing at me intently. "The first time I saw you. Your junior year of college, when you got hit by that basketball." I blinked. I did remember some freshmen playing ball back then, and I got hit on the shoulder. A few guys came over to apologize. One of them even took me to the nurse's office. An image of Ryan's face flashed through my mind. So, he was the one who took me to the nurse. He cleared his throat softly. He flipped me onto the bed. As for the rest, I saw it in his notebook. Deliberately getting styled but pretending to be poor when he approached me, adding me on WeChat. Ryan didn't give me a chance to think too much, his fingers forcefully intertwining with mine. After we were lost in passion, I heard him say, "Baby, I love you."